Hello guys, welcome back to my channel HK Official. Yes, I'm there with you with the unit number 3 of engineering physics, that is quantum mechanics. I'm taking this first part of this unit, so I'll be covering all the basics and whatever concepts which are included in the syllabus. Let us see till what concepts we are going to see in this video. So hope you are liking my way of teaching, and if you are getting it understand, so please subscribe to my channel, and if you like the video, hit the like button. So let us start with our unit number 3 of engineering physics, that is quantum mechanics. First of all, I need to say you what is quantum mechanics. So it is like a set of rules for really tiny things like atoms and particles you can consider. Instead of being in one place at a time, these tiny things can be in multiple places all at once. They also behave in strange ways, sometimes like particles and other times like waves. I hope you are getting the concept. Here, quantum mechanics, if we break the word and understand the meaning, so quantum is nothing but think of like really tiny things, super tiny particles you can consider. And what is mechanics? So this part is about how these tiny things move and interact, sort of like the rules that govern their behavior. So quantum mechanics is like the rules that explain how extremely small particles behave and move around. I hope you are familiar with the topic name as it. Okay, let us go ahead and let us see what all topics I am going to cover in this video. So here is the table of content. First of all, we are going to see de Broglie hypothesis, or sometimes we say de Broglie's hypothesis. Okay, then analogy between radiation with matter, then de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy, then same de Broglie wavelength in terms of accelerating potential, then properties of matter waves, phase velocity, and relationship between Vp and Vg. Okay, that is Vp is nothing but phase velocity and Vg is nothing but group velocity. Okay, so let us see, and we will be familiar with these topics at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Let us start. Here, the very first topic is de Broglie hypothesis. So here, this is the very first topic of our unit. In this, we are just asked in exams to write the definition of de Broglie's hypothesis and just write a simple formula which we have learned in our lower classes also. So just we have to mention that formula and we have to write the definition. That is, so this question comes around for 3 marks, and in this we are expected to just write definition and formula. So let us see first of all what is the definition of de Broglie hypothesis. So here, a moving particle always has a wave associated with it, and the motion of that particle is guided by the associative wave. The waves associated with the particle are known as matter waves or de Broglie waves. So here, to make you understand the concept of de Broglie hypothesis, I'll explain you in such a story format. See, pay attention. Imagine you have a tiny particle like an electron, and it's also like a tiny surfer riding a wave. Okay, the particle itself is like the surfer and the wave is like its path or guide. Now, this wave doesn't look like an ocean wave, it's more a wavy concept. This special wave is linked to the particle's movement, almost like a shadow that follows it. We call these waves matter waves or de Broglie waves after the scientists who discovered this idea. So, the de Broglie hypothesis tells us that particles have these hidden waves that help them move in a unique way, wavy way, and which is a cool idea I think in quantum physics. So, this was all about de Broglie hypothesis. In this, we can consider a simple moving particle is there, and simply it has a wave associated with it. Okay, then it is in motion, as wave is there, so some motion would be also there. So here, the motion of the particle is guided by the associated wave. Now this associated wave is with the moving particle. I hope you are getting the concept. Now these waves with the particle are also known as matter waves, or we can also call them de Broglie waves. I hope you are familiar with the definition. Now the only formula which you have to write for de Broglie hypothesis is lambda is equal to h by p or h by mv. So here lambda is the wavelength, h is Planck's constant, and p is your momentum, and momentum is also written as m into v. So that. So here our de Broglie hypothesis concept ends. I hope you are clear with it. Let us go ahead. Our second topic is nothing but analogy between radiation with matter. So here only you have to keep in mind two equations. What are those two equations? See, the very first equation is Planck's equation for photon energy. See, I have written in very simple language, and you can refer these notes. I'll give it in description. So just you have to refer these notes only before your exam. Okay. So just pay attention. You will be getting each concept very easy, and at the end you will be very happy that you saw this video. So let us go into this topic. As I said you, there are only two equations which you have to keep it in mind while defining this analogy between radiation with matter. So the very first equation is Planck's equation. We all are familiar with this, that is E is equal to h nu. Okay. Then the second equation is Einstein's energy mass relation, which is very famous equation, I know, that is E is equal to mc square. Okay, so just you have to keep it in mind that you have to consider these two equations. So the first is Planck's equation, E is equal to h nu, and Einstein's energy mass relation, that is E is equal to mc square. Now from this equation 1 and equation 2, you have to equate both. So as both are energies equation, so we will equate both. So we will get h nu is equal to mc square. Simple. I hope you are understanding till now. Now we all know what is nu, or we all know the basic formula, C is equal to lambda nu. Okay. So we have learned this. C is what? Speed of light. Nu is what? Frequency. Then lambda is wavelength. So just rearranging it, I will get nu is equal to C by lambda. Now we will just substitute that C by lambda in place of nu in the equation. So we will get h C by lambda is equal to mc square. C and C on either side will get cancelled, and we will get h by lambda is equal to mc. Okay, now we all want lambda, so just rearrange the equation. We will get lambda is equal to h upon mc, as m into c is nothing but p. P is what? Momentum. Okay, and m into c. Now you will say the formula was m into v. I know, but v was velocity of light and c is speed of light. Same concept. So here we will consider p, that is momentum, as m into c, and we will substitute it in the place, as we have learnt what is de Broglie hypothesis or de Broglie waves equation. It is lambda is equal to h upon p. So in the place we will write lambda is equal to h upon p. So this is the proof of de Broglie hypothesis, and we call it as analogy between radiation with matter. I hope you understood it very well. I have taken it very slowly. Again, I will revise it for you. We have to consider two equations. You may learn these equations. You have to remember those. Then first one is Planck's constant, that is E is equal to h nu. Second is Einstein's energy mass relation, that is E is equal to mc square. Just equate them, then put nu is equal to C by lambda, and you will get lambda is equal to h upon mc. And what is m into c? M into c is nothing but p, that is momentum. As you substituted it, you will get the formula for lambda is equal to h by p, that is de Broglie hypothesis, and this is nothing but the analogy between radiation with matter. Okay, so this is just the derivation. Okay, I hope you get it. Now let us go ahead. Our third topic, that is de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy. So this question is also very important. See, remember, while studying for end sem, you have to prepare 4 units. You may know that. So among the 4 units, for scoring good, you have to do 3 units thoroughly. Like not a single part or not a single topic among 3 units you have to skip. Okay. So here in this unit also, this unit is very simple, believe me. Don't skip any of the topic. Okay, at the end, if time persists, I will make the list of the important questions, do those. But as today or now we have much time, so we can, so here this topic is also very important. So we have to define de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy. So how we can do that? The very first thing which we have to do, we have to write the de Broglie wavelength equation. So that is lambda is equal to h by p. Okay, now consider a particle of mass m moving with velocity v. Its momentum is p is equal to mv, which is the formula itself, and de Broglie wavelength of matter associated with it is given by lambda is equal to h by p, or we can say that it is equal to h upon mv. Till now simply we have taken the equation lambda is equal to h by p. Now we have to know that what is the kinetic energy of particle. So we all know the very basic formula of kinetic energy, which is equal to 1 by 2 mv square. Alright, now just rearrange this equation. See, take it 2e which is equal to mv square. Now on the same line multiply both the sides by m. Okay, m is nothing but the mass. So here 2me is equal to m square v square. Now we all know what is mv. Mv is nothing but p, that is momentum. So m square v square will be equal to p square, that is momentum square. So we will just substitute it. We will get 2me is equal to p square. Okay, then if we take the under root, we want the value of p, that is momentum, we will get under root of me. 2me. So just by substituting it in de Broglie's equation, that is lambda is equal to h upon under root of 2me. Okay, we all know the de Broglie's wavelength equation is lambda is equal to h by p. Simply in the place of p we have substituted under root of 2me. So I hope you felt it very simple. Yes, very simple derivations are there, very simple. Just as I am starting and as I am ending, you have to write only this much in your exam and you will get complete marks, I guarantee you. So what was the concept? Just I defined what is de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is equal to h by p. Then we know what is a momentum. Momentum is mass into velocity of the particle, and as we all know the basic formula of kinetic energy of any particle, that is half mv square. Here I have written, just rearrange it. Don't forget to multiply both the sides by m, otherwise you will not get the p square over there, and just substitute m square v square as p square and you will get p is equal to under root of 2me, and just by substituting it in de Broglie's wavelength you will get lambda is equal to h upon under root of 2me. I hope you felt it very simple. Now let us go ahead. The fourth topic of today is de Broglie wavelength in terms of accelerating potential. The recent one was de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy, but now we are deriving the same wavelength in terms of accelerating potential. Okay, let us see what is it. First of all, if a charged particle such as electron or proton of rest mass m is accelerated by a potential difference of v volts. Remember here capital V is voltage. Then kinetic energy gained by it is given by, now this is the another equation of kinetic energy, which is equal to E into V. Here V is nothing but the voltage, remember. And also we all know the basic formula of kinetic energy of particle, which is half mv square. Now simply just equate them. Now don't do this mistake of cancelling the v and v. Remember the half mv square v is velocity of particle, and on right hand side E into V, that is voltage. Okay, so don't forget this thing. You have to make the difference between small v and capital V, otherwise your equation will become wrong. Okay, so here half m square v square. Now what I did over here, the same thing. I multiplied by both the sides by m. So what I will get, half m square v square is equal to m into E into V. Now let us see what is there. Now here I have just rearranged the equation, that is m square v square is equal to 2me. Then this m square v square is nothing but p, that is our momentum, that is p square. I know I have not written one step of p square is equal to 2 m e v. You can take this, and p is equal to under root of 2 m e into v. Now here capital V indicates our voltage or potential difference. Okay, now the same we will put in the de Broglie's wavelength, that is lambda is equal to h upon p. So here p is under root of 2 m e v, so we will substitute it, and the final equation is in front of us, that is lambda is equal to h upon under root of 2 m e v. Now this derivation doesn't end over here. We have to remove de Broglie's wavelength associated with charged particle, that is electron and proton. So for electron, what we will do, in the same formula, just we will substitute all the values of constants. Like h, we all know, I have written over here. What is h? H is 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. Okay, our Planck's constant. Then we have to know the mass of electron. Don't confuse between charge of electron and mass of electron. If you are confused, then write those and remember. Okay, so the mass of electron is 9.11 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg, and electron, now here it is charge, so E is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Don't be confused between the mass of electron and charge of electron. Okay, now here we have to take the equation of wavelength in terms of V, because we don't have the value of V. So what we will get the final output if we put this all these values in our equation, that is lambda is equal to h upon under root 2 m e v. So we will get lambda is equal to 12.26 upon under root v Armstrong. So for this I will tell you that you have to remember this. Don't do this calculations in your exams time. It will take your unnecessary time. So just remember these values, that for electron lambda is equal to 12.26 upon under root v Armstrong, and for proton just remember the mass of proton, that is 1.67 into 10 raised to minus 27. This thing is important only for you to remember mass of electron and proton. Otherwise charge of electron and proton is same, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Just substitute now these values and you will get lambda is equal to 0.286 upon under root v Armstrong. It is easy, just remember these both lambda values and you are over with the derivation. So I hope you understood. Just what we did, we simply wrote kinetic energy is equal to E into V. Here capital V is voltage. I am focusing you on this thing because we make mistakes in small things only. Okay, so then equating this E into V into half mv square, that is our basic formula of kinetic energy. By rearranging and multiplying both the sides by m, we all got finally lambda is equal to h upon under root of 2 mev. And as we all know, the charged particles are electron and proton. So for electron we have substituted mass of electron, and for proton we have substituted mass of proton, and just we have written lambda or de Broglie's wavelength. Okay, so this is nothing but the de Broglie wavelength in terms of accelerating potential. I hope you felt it very simple with me. Now let us go ahead. Our fifth topic, it is properties of matter waves. So what are these properties of matter waves? Let us see. Now, according to de Broglie hypothesis, for a particular mass moving with velocity v, the wavelength of matter wave associated with it is given by what? Lambda is equal to h by p, or which is equal to lambda is equal to h upon mv. We are very familiar with this equation now. Okay. Now here h is Planck's constant, we all know. Now we are going toward the properties of matter waves. So we can summarize these as like this properties, these 5 properties. The very first one is de Broglie wavelength is inversely proportional to the velocity of particles. See, the concept is very simple, and in this video very simple topics are there. So just go and revise it thoroughly and you will be considering these topics very easy. See, remember the very first formula of de Broglie wavelength, that is lambda is equal to h upon mv, and if you all know that formula, the properties are very simple for you. The very first property is the de Broglie wavelength is inversely proportional to velocity of particle. As we all know, lambda is equal to h upon mv, so lambda is inversely proportional to velocity, right? So as when a particle is at rest, its velocity is 0 and lambda is infinity, as they are inversely proportional, right? So smaller is the value of v, longer is the wavelength of matter waves associated with it, and it means that matter waves are detectable only for moving particles. Okay, now the second point here, de Broglie wavelength is inversely proportional to the mass of particle. Same formula, lambda is equal to h upon mv. So here m mass of particle, so again our wavelength is inversely proportional to mass of particle. Now as lighter the particle, smaller is the value of m, and hence longer is the wavelength of the matter waves associated with it. Therefore wave behavior of microparticles will be significant, whereas waves associated with macro bodies can never be detected. Okay, the third property is matter waves are not electromagnetic waves. See, any type of waves are produced by oscillations of certain quantity. When a charged particle oscillates, it produces electromagnetic waves. Matter waves are produced by the motion of particles and do not depend on the charge of particle. Therefore, matter waves are not electromagnetic waves. Okay, you don't have to write their explanation and all. If you wrote these lines also, you can learn these lines if you are not getting the concept. Otherwise, if you are getting the concepts, the lines are in your mind only. Okay, so the very first, as we all know, it is inversely proportional to velocity, then inversely proportional to mass of particle, then these matter waves, or we can say de Broglie waves, are not electromagnetic waves. I have told you the reason. Then these matter waves are not mechanical waves. So why such? See, mechanical waves such as sound waves we can consider, they are produced by vibrations of particle, we all know, of the medium. So though which they travel, so a particle can always travel in the vacuum, and hence these matter waves are associated with it even in vacuum. As matter waves do not require any medium for propagation, they are not mechanical waves. Okay, so matter waves are not mechanical waves also. Then matter waves are related with probability of finding the particle. So what is this probability of finding the particle? See, if a photon is considered as a particle, then corresponding electromagnetic wave is de Broglie wave for that photon. Similarly, atomic particles are associated with matter waves which do not have similarity to any known waves such as electromagnetic or sound waves. De Broglie waves are associated with locating the probability of particle, and hence also known as probability waves. Okay, so just consider these 5 topics. If this question arises like write the properties of matter waves, it will come for 4 to 5 marks only, not more than that. So these 5 topics are sufficient for it. I hope you are very familiar with these properties and you are clear with it. Let us go ahead on our sixth topic. Our sixth topic is phase velocity. We also call it as wave velocity. We denote it by Vp. Okay, so let us see what is this. So here phase velocity of a single wave is the velocity with which a definite phase point of the wave propagate in the medium. The phase velocity is given by Vp is equal to omega by k. Now see, for understanding this phase velocity conceptually, I will like to tell you a story. See, imagine a wave like a moving line of ants on a road. The phase velocity of the wave is like the speed at which a particular ant, let's call it as Bob, from the front of the line moves forward. Okay, now in waves we have 2 important things, that is omega, which is like the whole line of ants moving, and k, which represents how closely the ants are lined up. I hope you are getting the concept. So the phase velocity is simply how fast the bob, that is our leading ant, moves forward, and you can calculate it using by the formula, that is V is equal to omega by k, and this formula helps us figure out how fast the bob or the leading ant of a wave is going as it travels through the medium. Okay, I hope you understood. Your ants you can take as particles. Okay, simply what is like how the formula, this is the formula which will help us to figure out how the fast the first ant or the leading ant, we can say, it is moving, or the wave starting point of the wave or starting particle of the wave, it is how fast it is moving, we can get to know it. Okay, and how as it travels through a medium, what is its speed. So this is nothing but the phase velocity. I hope you got it very interesting. Okay, so the formula is nothing but the phase velocity, which is Vp equal to omega by k. Now here you have to substitute both the values of omega and k. See, don't confuse between both of these values as they look similar. The first omega is 2 pi nu. Now we all know, we know what is omega angular velocity, that is 2 pi f, that is 2 into pi into frequency. So just in place of frequency, this nu you have to write. Nu is nothing but frequency only, so just you have to replace omega by 2 pi nu. Okay, then k value is 2 pi by lambda. Okay, so just substitute this omega and k value and let us see what we all get. So here Vp will be equal to 2 pi nu upon 2 pi by lambda. 2 pi will get cancelled, and at the last we will get the phase velocity as nu into lambda, that is frequency into wavelength. I hope you felt it very simple. This was phase velocity. Now the second one is group velocity, that is Vg. You can see the image and figure out what is group velocity. First I will read the definition and again I will tell you a story. So this story can remind you the concept in exams. So what is group velocity? The velocity with which a wave packet propagates in the medium is called as group velocity. We denote it by Vg, and it is shown that group velocity is equal to d omega by dk. Same, just we have taken the derivative. Now the time of story. See, think of a wave packet as a group of friends walking together. Now this group velocity is how fast this entire group of friends is moving together through a medium. Now in waves we have two terms, d omega, which is like how the group's collective behavior changes, and dk, representing how their togetherness or grouping changes. Okay, so the group velocity tells us how quickly the entire group of friends is advancing together, and you can figure it out using the formula, this Vg is equal to d omega by dk, and this helps us understand how fast the entire wave packet or group is moving through the medium. I hope you got the concept of group velocity. So our formula is Vg is equal to d omega by dk. Now the third thing here is we have to find out the relation between Vp and Vg. What is Vp? Phase velocity, and Vg is your group velocity. So what is the relation between them is very important question. Okay, and this is the last topic of this video. So let us see what is the relation in this. Now we all know that Vp, that is phase velocity, is omega by k. Okay, so we can write it as omega into 1 by k. Okay, now we have to differentiate it with respect to k, remember. So what will be our differentiation? dVp by dk is equal to, now apply UV rule, you will get omega as constant and 1 by k derivative is minus 1 upon k square. Then plus 1 by k as it is, and derivative of omega with respect to k, that is d omega by dk. So by taking 1 by k common, you will get minus omega by k plus d omega by dk. I hope you are clear till now. Let us see ahead. Now the same thing I have written over here, just I have taken the k which was there on right hand side in denominator to the left hand side, so it get multiplied with the left side component. So we got k into dVp by dk is equal to minus omega by k plus d omega by dk. Okay, now what is omega by k? Omega by k is Vp, right, phase velocity, and d omega by dk is what? Group velocity. Just interchange them because minus sign is there with phase velocity, so we can write it as Vg minus Vp, that is group velocity minus phase velocity. Okay, so what we will get for Vg, that is group velocity, if we rearrange that complete equation, we will get Vg is equal to Vp plus k into dVp by dk. So this is our relation. Now let us go ahead. As we all know, what is the value of k? K value is 2 pi by lambda. Just substitute it wherever you find k in the equation. So you will get Vg is equal to Vp plus 2 pi by lambda into dVp by d into 2 pi by lambda. Now this 2 pi and 2 pi are constants. So if we take them out and cancel, that is also same. Here I have cancelled it directly. Now what we will get? See, we will get Vg is equal to Vp plus 1 by lambda dVp upon derivative of 1 by lambda. Now what is the derivative of 1 by lambda? Anything 1 by x, like it is minus 1 by x square. So here it will be minus 1 upon lambda square. and as 1 by lambda is present there, into its multiplication lambda again will get cancelled, only one lambda will remain, and finally we will get the equation that is Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda into dVp upon d lambda. So this is the final relation between phase velocity and group velocity. Write it one time, it is very simple and you will get it very easy. So this was the relation, okay. So that is the end of the video, and I hope today whatever topics I covered, these topics are very important and you are getting it very simple. I have tried to change my style, like by telling stories and all, if you remember them. So my goal is just to make you remember these concepts at your exam time and you will not forget anything. So I hope you get the concepts very clear, and I will like you to practice these derivations and write these derivations in your notebooks, and whenever time persists you can take the reference of my PDF notes also. So if you like today's session, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and thanks for watching for today.